Hello students, good morning. Today we are going to study chapter 9 of your social studies textbook, Forest and Wildlife Resources. Please take page number 67. Let's begin the chapter. The existence, progress and development of man is dependent on resources. We have been fulfilling our needs by getting them from nature since early times, wherein the forests are considered to be very important resources. Students, make a bracket. A general meaning of forest is the accumulation of trees, shrubs or heaps of grass. In natural vegetation, only that vegetation is included which can be raised naturally without the help of man. This is called virgin vegetation. Now such vegetation in India is available only in Himalayas, Sundarban and remote areas of Thar desert. So students, what did we see over here? We saw that the existence, progress and development of man is dependent on resources. In the chapter 8 we saw about the resources. We saw different types of resources. And then here we see that we have been fulfilling our needs by getting them from nature since early times, wherein the forests are considered to be very important resources. And I am sure you will agree with me how the forests are important resources for us, which we will be seeing it over here. But then, what is the meaning of the forest? What do you understand by forest? And therefore I told you to make a bracket. In general, the meaning of forest is the accumulation of trees, shrubs or heaps of grass is called as a forest. In natural vegetation, only that vegetation is included which can be raised naturally without the help of man. This is called virgin vegetation. So we saw one is meaning of the forest, and the meaning of the forest is the accumulation of trees. But what do you understand by virgin forest? What do you understand by, or where can we find virgin vegetation in India? So before we could go, where we can find is that virgin vegetation is that the natural vegetation, only that which includes or which can be raised naturally without the help of man. This is called virgin vegetation. Now such vegetation in India is available only, underline that, in Himalayas, Sundarban and remote area of Thar desert. Underline that, Thar desert. Let's see. Now what is that? We saw already about the forest. Now let's see how is it classified. How can the forest be classified? So they are classified in 3 categories, 3 types, and they are, before that, forest classification is made according to different criteria. The forest classification is done according to different criteria. You have studied the classification of forest on the basis of climate in standard 9. Here we will know about 3 types of forests on the basis of administration, ownership and management. Administration, ownership and management. So let's see the types of forests according to administration. Which are they? And they are 3. Which are they, students? They are reserved forest, protected forest and unclassified forest. Now remember students, we are seeing the type of forest according to administration. And there are 3: reserved forest, protected forest and unclassified forest. Now what do you understand by the forest? Forests that are such are under the control of the government directly. Here there is restriction on lumbering, collection of woods or pasturing. So students, what do you understand by the reserved forest? The forests which come under the direct control of the government. And what happens that you are restricted, you are not allowed on lumbering, collection of woods or for pasturing. Now what is lumbering? Felling of the trees. Sometimes there are very precious trees like sandalwood, timber. So you are not allowed to cut the trees, you are not allowed to fell the trees. Then collection of woods and pasturing. You cannot take your animals to graze over there. So these are called reserved forests. The second type is protected forests, and they are the forests are looked after by the administration. Forests are looked by the administration. Local people are permitted to collect the wood and to graze their animals without causing any harm to the trees. So in the protected forest, what? You are allowed to go there with your animals to collect your woods, but without causing any harm to the trees. You cannot just cut, you cannot fell the tree. You can collect the wood what is fallen, for there are poor people who have been collecting for the firewood. Okay, they have been collecting firewood in order to cook their food and all. So that is allowed. That is called protected forest. And the third category or the third type is unclassified forest. Which are these unclassified forests? Such forests are still not classified. These forests are still not classified. There is no restriction on tree felling or animal grazing. They do not stop you, they do not prevent you from felling the trees, neither do they stop you from grazing the animals. In the first place, reserve forest, you see that they are under the control of the government. You cannot cut the trees, you cannot collect the wood, neither can you take the animals for grazing. In the protected forest, you saw that you can collect the wood, you can graze the animals, but you cannot harm the trees. Okay, but in the unclassified forest, there are the forests which are not classified, and there is no restriction. You can take your animals for grazing as well as you can fell the trees. They will not stop. Okay, now let's see the classification of forests according to ownership, administration and management. Here we saw only according to administration, and there are three types. Now we are seeing about the classification of forests according to ownership, administration and management. What is this and how is it classified? So let's see. The forests of India are classified into three types on the basis of ownership, administration and management aspects. So it is on these three, that is ownership, administration and management aspect. First is the state forest. What happens over here? Central or state government controls such forest. Most of the forests of the country fall under this category. So what happens in the state forest? What happens? It is controlled by whom? Either by the state or the central. They control this forest, and what happens? Most of the forests of the country fall under this category. Most of the forests fall into this category, meaning they have been or they are under the control of the government, either by the state government or by the central government. Second one is the communal forest. What is that communal forest? And the communal forest is that local self-government institutions. And which are these local self-government institutions? Like Gram Panchayat, municipalities, corporations, district panchayat have control over such forests. So the communal forests have been under the control of the local self-institutions. And local self-institutions are Gram Panchayat, municipalities, district panchayat and the corporations. They have control over such forests. Students, state forests by the central or the state government, communal forests by the local self-government institutions. We saw this. Now, there is a third category, and that is a private forest. What is that? Such a forest is owned by individuals. This private forest is owned by the individuals. Who are these individuals, or what is it? Such forests are found more in Odisha, Meghalaya, Punjab and Himachal Pradesh. Underline these names. Such forests, meaning the private forests, have been found where? In Odisha, Meghalaya, Punjab and Himachal Pradesh. Some of the forests of these types are in haphazard condition, or some of them are totally barren. So what happens, students? Either they are not in the proper condition or they are totally barren. There doesn't grow anything much. Okay? Now, I just want you again just to revise that in the classification of forest, we saw that there are types of forests. One category goes according to the administration, where we saw about the reserved, protected and unclassified forests. And then we went to study about the classification of forests according to ownership, administration and management. And we saw there are also three types, and they are state forest, communal forest and a private forest. Just as the above, here also we saw that the state forests are under the control of state or the central government. Communal forests are under the control of the local self-institutions like Gram Panchayat municipalities or the district panchayat, and the private forests which have been owned by Odisha, Meghalaya, Punjab and Himachal Pradesh. They are sometimes barren or in haphazard condition. Now let's see about the deforestation. What do you understand by deforestation, or is deforestation allowed? Let's see the meaning of what do you understand, or what is the meaning of deforestation. Deforestation means the destruction of forests. This is not a problem of our country alone, but is one of the global problems. It can be said that it is result of the progress of man. Trees are destroyed naturally. However, it is negligible compared to the loss inflicted by human interference. So students, what is deforestation? Deforestation means nothing but the destruction of the forest. And it is not only the problem of India, but this is a problem all over. It is a global problem. And why? Why it is? It can be said that it is a result of the progress of man. Man thinks that we have been developing. Our country has been developing. But for that development, we have destroyed the trees, we have destroyed the forest. Okay? And see, it is a negligible compared to the loss inflicted by human interference. Now let's see what is the impact of the deforestation. What happens? What impact does it have? And the impact is that the impact of deforestation is widespread. The quantity of carbon dioxide increases in the atmosphere. Greenhouse effects become more intense. With the removed forest cover, the soil is eroded, and the problem of farm fertility increase. In the forests of peninsular India, the forest area has decreased largely due to deforestation. In the forest of peninsular India, the forest area has decreased largely due to deforestation. Many living organisms have lost their abodes. Now, students, I'll stop over here. Just explain it to you. The impact of deforestation is widespread. As we saw, it is not only the problem of our country, but it is a global problem, and therefore the quantity of carbon dioxide increase in the atmosphere. We know that the trees help us to get pure air, oxygen, and because of the deforestation, the level of the carbon dioxide has increased. Greenhouse effects has become more intense. With the removed forest cover, the soil eroded, and the problem of farm fertility. Now, here student, you have increased. Now, in some of the old book, it is the mistake, it is not increased, the fertility decreases. So, if you have increase in the textbook, cancel that and write over there, it decreases. Due to the soil erosion, the fertility decreases. In the forest of peninsular India, you know what is the peninsular India, last year we have studied it. The forest area has decreased largely due to deforestation. The forest area has decreased, has become less and less due to deforestation because of the many trees have been fallen. Many living organisms have lost their abodes, their living. And what happened? As a result, the wild animals approach urban, just turn the page. And as a result, what happens? The wild animals approach into the urban settlement in search of food and water. Poor things. That is their abode. The forest is their house. And when they do not get the food in the forest, naturally they move to the urban settlements where the urban area is in order to get their food and water. More instances are recorded of carnivorous animals killing the domestic animals of those shepherds who live near the forest. And as a result, what happens? Those who have domestic animals like cows or the sheep or goats or whatever it is, they have been killed by whom? By the carnivorous animals, because they are not getting their food where they are supposed to be getting. So what do you think? What remedies, what can be done to conserve, to preserve the, what measures or remedies can be taken to preserve the forest? So let's see the remedies that can be taken to preserve the forest. First and foremost, research should be carried out to find the option of wood. This will reduce the usage of wood and it will save the forest. Wherever the trees are to be cut inevitably for the development work or for necessity, new trees of the same species should be grown. There should be a total ban for cutting trees which are not grown fully. So students, the first measure they are saying that the research should be carried out to find the option of wood. What can be done in the place of wood? What can we do? And this will reduce the usage of wood and it will save the forest. If the forests are not cut for the wood, naturally the forest can be saved. Wherever the trees are to be cut inevitably for the development of the development work or for necessity, new trees of the same species should be grown. We should take care that the new species should be grown. Otherwise, there should be total ban for cutting trees which are not grown fully. This is the first measure. And then the second measure is that those industries which receive their raw material from the forest should be compelled for afforestation for future needs. Under the name of ecotourism, the forest cover should not be damaged and should be strictly controlled. So this is the second one. What is that? Those industries which receive their raw material from the forest should be compelled, should be forced for afforestation for future needs. Okay? And then what, under the name of ecotourism, what happens? The forest cover should not be damaged or should be strictly controlled. It is in our hand. We can take care of it. The third one is that widespread public awareness program should be organized among the local people. The local people can be educated. Awareness should be brought among them. Why? So that they will take care of the forest and they will not cut, neither will they allow the others to enter into their forest to cut the trees. Let's see the next one. The forest, the importance of forest and then conservation strategies should be included in the syllabus of schools and colleges. They should explain the necessity of forest conservation. Students, this point is what we are already seeing it over here. It is already implemented. It is brought it into your syllabus. It is brought it into your notice as a student in the schools, in the colleges, so that you understand the importance of the forest. And you should be made aware that we need to conserve the forest. Then the next is that social forestry and agroforestry should be developed intensively by taking planned steps for the necessity of fodder and firewood. What do you understand by fodder, students? Fodder is that for the animals you need to give food, and the firewood, of course, the firewood which we require. Poor people have been using firewood. So social forestry and agroforestry should be developed intensively by taking planned steps. Okay, what is necessity? Certain steps should be taken. Then the next is, in place of firewood, alternative options like solar energy, natural gas, etc. should be implemented. So if we have solar energy or the natural gas, that will solve the problem. And then we have the next. The next one is that forest resources should be used sparingly, meaning used carefully. In order to make the process of tree growth faster and healthier, infested trees should be removed. Forest fire causes heavy damage to forest. A separate system or a force at national level should be created for dousing the fire. Now, students, what happens for dousing the fire? This last year also we studied in this 9th standard about the forest, what can be done. Sometimes how the forests have been destroyed because of the fire and all. So such things can be taken care of. Okay? We should not see that. Even the trees the forests which are, the trees which have been infested, which are not okay or not, should be removed. The next point over there is due to increase means of transportation and easy travel, thousands of pilgrims reach the religious places in forested area to attend the Bhandara fairs or parikrama, that is a circular travel. At that time, if the litter should be cleared properly, otherwise the forest gets polluted. So we need to take care. Whenever you go to the forest as a trekking or as a pilgrim or whatever it is, fair or whatever it is, you should see that you do not litter the forest. You should not throw the garbage here and there. Rather, there should be the dustbins to throw the garbage. We should not pollute the forest. An area should be demarcated and reserved for animal pasture. What do you understand by demarcated? It should be given, the area should be given, the border should be given to, for what? To pasture the animals. It should be reserved. So students, these are the remedies taken to conserve the forest. I'm going to stop over here. I'll just show you the question answers. You'll have to write them in your fair book. Look at the board. You have to write. There are only 9 questions. You have to answer them. I'll also send you the image of it. Have a good day.